Hi guys, thanks for joining me today for Speedy SPAG. My name's Miss Quimby and I work at Lowbrook Academy in Maidenhead. We're all stuck at home at the moment, so I thought I'd try to record one video a week of a SPAG lesson so that you can do your SPAG learning at home. I'm going to do my best for you today guys. Unfortunately my TV isn't interactive like my board in the classroom, so you're going to have to bear with me a little bit. So let's start off with a warm-up. So to warm our brains up this morning, I'd like you to have a look at the 4 sentences on the screen. In each of the sentences there are some errors. They might be punctuation errors or spelling errors. Have a look and see if you can spot them all. Pause the screen now while you do this. How did you get on finding all those errors? I hope you look really carefully. Let's have a look and see where they all were. So there were quite a few mistakes on that page. We had missing capital letters for today. We had a homophone in there, weather. Now that's the wrong weather. The weather for outside is W-E-A-T-H-E-R, weather. We had a spelling error, lovely isn't double L. And every sentence has to have some punctuation to finish it off, so you should have had a full stop at the end of that sentence. The next one, have you been in the garden today? Well, it doesn't look like there's anything wrong, but it is a question, so it has to have a question mark to finish it off. We've got another missing capital letter for the blue sentence. For what, we need a capital W. Now, beautiful's not spelt correctly. Beautiful is spelt B-E-A-U-T-I-F-U-L. So hopefully you spotted that error as well. What a beautiful day it is. Well, we don't have any punctuation there, but it's not a normal sentence that requires a full stop. It's actually an exclamation, which means we need an exclamation mark. Okay, the yellow one now. Let's get ready for some fun. Well, we're missing an apostrophe in let's, which is a contraction. We're going to come on to contractions later in this lesson, but we need an apostrophe between the T and the S. Let's get ready. Ready spelt incorrectly. It should be R-E-A-D-Y. For some, that's another homophone. That's the wrong sum. That sum is the mathematical sum, and we need sum, S-O-M-E. Let's get ready for some fun. Full stop. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 errors on that page. Well done if you found all 12 errors. Okay guys, let's get on to some learning. So today we're going to learn about contractions. Now contractions are short words that are made by putting 2 words together. When this happens, letters are left out and an apostrophe is put in place of the missing letters. Let's have a look at an example. So the original words were have not, and when we make them into a contraction they become haven't. The O is taken away and an apostrophe goes in its place. Have not becomes haven't. So now it's your turn to have a go. In a moment I'm going to ask you to pause the video and I'd like you to write down on your piece of paper as many contractions as you can think of. Don't forget to use an apostrophe for those missing letters. Are you ready? Off you go. Welcome back guys. I hope you got loads of contractions written down. On the screen I'm going to show you some contractions. I wonder if you got them all. Should have becomes should have. They will becomes they'll. Must not, mustn't. Would not, wouldn't. Now this is a tricky one that I always struggle to remember. Shall not becomes shan't. So in that case, not only has the apostrophe replaced the missing O, we've also removed the L's, so it goes from shall not to shan't. Now this is a case for a couple of words, and I'm going to talk about that more in a moment. Have a quick look at the screen and make sure you've got all of these contractions. If you forgot any, make sure you remember them for next time. So now we have another chance for you to have a go. I'm going to ask you to pause the video again in a moment and have a go at writing the contraction for each of these pairs of words. It will, she will, he will not, cannot, has not. Now remember what I said about shall not becoming shan't, and sometimes those letters change because there's one in here that might catch you out. Pause the video now and have a go. Welcome back, guys. How did you get on with those? I wonder if you spotted that one that's there to catch you out. Let's have a look at the answers. So, it will becomes it'll. Now we've got two missing letters there, two letters omitted, and the apostrophe replaces the W and the I in will, becoming it'll. Then she will, we have the same situation, the missing W and I, and it becomes she'll. The same with he'll. Now the next one's the one that I thought might catch you out because it's one where the letters change. Will not becomes won't. So we can see a bit of a pattern here. With shall not, we got rid of the L's and replaced the O with an apostrophe, and it became shan't. With will not, we do the same thing. We remove the L's, replace the O with an apostrophe, but the only difference is the I becomes an O, and it goes from will not to won't. Cannot becomes can't, that's a nice easy one for you, and has not becomes hasn't. Well done if you got all of those right. Okay, so let's move on now to something different. We're going to learn today about prepositions. Now prepositions indicate direction, time, location, and spatial relationships. Now that all sounds a bit confusing, but basically what that means is, if I was to say, look to the left and you'll see our destination, the to in that sentence is a preposition because it refers to the direction. If I was to say, we've been working since this morning, since in that sentence is a preposition as it indicates the time. If I said, we saw a movie at the theatre, at is the preposition in that sentence because it tells us about the location. And in the sentence, the dog hid under the table, under is the preposition because it indicates the spatial relationship to another object. Now there are loads of prepositions to indicate spatial relationships. Let me show you some now. We've got beside, in front, behind, between, opposite, around, next to, below. So there's loads that you can use in your writing. So now it's your turn to have a go. I'm going to put the Mission Impossible timer on, which will give you 3 minutes to write down as many prepositions as you can think of. Now they don't just have to be prepositions for space, they can be for direction, time or location. So 3 minutes to write down as many prepositions as you can. Are you ready? Off you go. How did you get on, guys? Let's have a look at some of the prepositions you could have written down in those 3 minutes. So you could have had across, under, during, through, toward, above, but I'd like to draw your attention to at 6 o'clock. Now, when I gave you an example of a preposition for time, I used the example since, but a preposition can be as specific as telling you the exact time that something happened. So it's your turn to have a go again now, guys. We're going to come back to those prepositions for location and spatial relationships. So I'm going to show you a picture of a scene, and I'd like you to write as many sentences as you can using prepositions to describe where objects are in relation to each other. Ready? When the image comes on the screen, pause the video and have a go at writing those sentences. Welcome back, guys. I hope you managed to write down loads of sentences using prepositions. Now, I've written a few for you that you could have had, and I've put them on the screen, but there were loads that you could have written, and I'm sure you've got loads of brilliant examples that I haven't written up on the screen for you. I've written things like, the ironing board is between the plant and the TV. The plant is behind the photos. The camera and the iron are in front of the TV. The slippers are under the unit. The cushion is on the floor and the teddy is on top of the cushion. All of these have got prepositions to indicate where something is and its relationship to other items in space. So, next job. Now that we've practiced using some prepositions, I'd like you to read these sentences and add a preposition into the gap to make sure the sentence makes sense. So pause the screen and have a go at writing out these sentences and adding a preposition. Welcome back, guys. Good effort. So remember, a preposition indicates direction, time, location, and spatial relationships. So let's have a look at what you could have put in each of those gaps. The girl held her arms above her head. Go and sit next to Stan. Joe was in the bath when the phone rang. They hid under the table during an earthquake. So in that last sentence, under is a preposition because it tells us where they were in relationship to the table, and during is a preposition because it indicates when it happened. Right then, next task. Using the prepositions that are on the screen, I'd like you to write as many sentences as you can about this picture. Try and use every preposition on the screen at least once. So off you go. Pause the video and have a go. Okay, on to the final task of the day. On the screen there's a paragraph, and the paragraph contains a number of prepositions. Your job is to change each preposition to a different preposition while still making sure the sentence makes sense. So I'd like you to pause the video and have a go at that, and keep your answers really safe, because at the beginning of my next video we'll go through some of the answers that you could have had. Pause the video now while you have a go. Okay, well done, guys. You've worked really hard today. Make sure you keep those answers nice and safe, and we'll go through them at the beginning of next lesson. So as I said earlier, I'm going to make one of these Speedy SPAG videos a week and pop them on this channel. So if you subscribe, you'll get a notification when the next video comes up. I really hope you're keeping nice and safe at home, guys. Keeping happy, keeping healthy, and make sure you're working hard for your mums and dads. See you later, guys.